In this video, we are going to talk about IoT protocols. So the first thing which comes to our mind when we talk about protocols is, so the protocols are nothing but the set of rules and regulations which are imposed on the IoT devices in order to make the communication or to make the data to be transferred between the different nodes which are present in the IoT environment. So it is as simple as so when we are in college or when we want to go to school, then we have to wear our uniforms, then put on our shoes, then we need to take the necessary the classwork notebooks, and if you are in classroom, then you have to maintain silence, and there are a lot of rules and regulations which are imposed on the students. So in the same way, so if we want to make the IoT the as an reality, or we want to make the interconnected nodes communicate with each other, so we have to impose some rules and regulations which should be obeyed by each and every node of the IoT environment or IoT object, so that the communication will happen easily. So that is nothing but protocol, so we can say the rules which should be followed. So what are all the types of protocols? So there are different types of rules and regulation protocols there. So the first one is MQTT, and the second one is QoAP, then third one is 6LoWPAN, and the last one is RPL. So first one we will be seeing in this session, and others we will discuss later. So that is, we will be seeing deep in terms of MQTT. So what is mean by MQTT? So how it is different from the other protocols which are already there in market, so which are used for the browsing or surfing of internet, and what are all the key features regarding with the MQTT we will be seeing. So coming to MQTT, so first thing come to mind is what is mean by MQTT. So MQTT is a lightweight message giving and transport protocol which is highly suited for transmission of telemetry data, that is sensor data or actor data. So we can say actuator data as well. So MQTT is a lightweight message protocol, so it has got only 2 bytes of overhead, that is its header is only 2 bytes, so it is consuming very less space in terms of transmission, and it is suitable for telemetry data transmission, means only a small data like a small text or small audio. So like that, the data which is in terms of KB is suitable for transmission with the help of MQTT, and it is best suited for IoT due to this reason itself. So as it is a low data transmission protocol, it consumes low power. So IoT devices are battery powered, so they will be having limited power with them. So the amount of power consumed with the help of MQTT will be less, so it is an ideal protocol for IoT devices. So almost all 90% of the IoT devices are using MQTT in this state. So why MQTT should be used? So what are the we can say advantages of MQTT over the other existing protocols? So let us say HTTP. So this is basically used in Google to get the huge information. So when we are surfing the internet, on the top corner we can say HTTP, that is hypertext transfer protocol, will be displayed. So why we are using MQTT instead of HTTP in case of IoT, we will see. So for that we have a couple of reasons here. So HTTP is a bulk protocol. So this is a bulk protocol, it means it is a massive protocol used to transfer large amount of data, but IoT need only small amount of data to be transferred, so HTTP is not suitable. So HTTP transfers the bulk data, and it is very power consuming, but in case of IoT we need to transfer only small amount of data there, so there is no point in using HTTP instead of MQTT because it will consume lot of power and it is a heavy protocol. So that's the first reason why we should go for MQTT, not for HTTP in case of the Internet of Things. And the second reason is response time for MQTT is less as compared to HTTP. So response time for the MQTT is less as compared to HTTP, means the nodes will be responding to each other very quick if you use MQTT instead of HTTP protocol there. So this is also an important factor because in some real world applications we need data immediately, so there is no scope for delay. So like the autonomous driving car and the medical facilities there, so we don't want any delay to be happened, or in case of the real-time technology, so at that time we have to go for MQTT instead of HTTP protocol. And the third reason is, as HTTP is a heavy protocol, it consumes large amount of power. In case of IoT, the end devices will be battery driven, so they are limited in power. So this is somewhat interesting. So HTTP is a heavy protocol, so it will be consuming lot of power. But the IoT devices are battery powered and they don't have a infinite or large amount of power with them. So that, and the last reason why we should go for MQTT instead of HTTP is, in 3G networks the throughput of MQTT is 93 times faster than the HTTP protocol. So as I said earlier also, MQTT is a lightweight protocol which will be transferring very light data or small data. So in case of HTTP, it is a bulk protocol transferring bulk data. So the throughput of MQTT will be higher because it is transmitting very less data in terms of time. So per second it will be transmitting more data as compared to the HTTP. So that's the last reason why we should go for MQTT instead of HTTP, or you can say the advantages of MQTT over HTTP. And I want to mention some other reason, that is why we should go for MQTT is, so basically HTTP is a request response model where when we request something then only it will be sending data to us. So let us take a look at Google. So when we want to find something or search something, we just go to the Google and type something there, and then we hit the search button. So when we hit the search button, at that time we are requesting for the Google server to send the data, so that is the related data for us. That is request response. We are requesting by searching the niche there and it is responding us. But in case of MQTT it is not like that. It is a subscriber and client and subscriber based model where the subscription, we are, if you are using, if you want some data, then we have to subscribe to a particular topic, and if you, once we have subscribed, whether we want or don't want the data, it will be sending continuously. So whenever the data is updated at the server, it will be sending to all its subscribers. So if you are, let us take an example at the temperature. So we want to know the temperature at a particular place, and we are selecting that as its topic. So whenever there is change in the temperature, it will be sending the data, that is the new temperature, to all its subscribers. So that is public subscriber based model, we can say. Okay, so now coming to the features of MQTT. So what are all the interesting features which are related to the MQTT, we will see. So the first feature is, it is an lightweight protocol. So the format of the message format of the MQTT is such that it has got a 2 byte of header, and then the rest things are QoS and then reset pin and other flags are there. So there are only 4 bytes which are mandatory for the header, and the next 4 bytes are allowed for user defined header, and the other space is allowed for the allocated for the payload, that is the message which you want to actually transmit. So like this, the protocols which are associated with MQTT are very lightweight and hence they will consume low power. So and the complexity will be less for the protocols there. The next feature is asynchronous communication model messages. So the meaning of asynchronous communication model is, so suppose you have subscribed to a particular topic, let us say temperature, and the server is continuously updating the data, but you are a subscriber and you are not present at this moment. So right now the temperature at the place is changed, but you were not online. So it is not necessary that you should be online always. So whenever you come online, it will update the temperature to you. So it is asynchronous, that means the client and the server should not be online at a particular moment. So if you are online, immediately the data will be transferred to you, and if you are not online, the data will be retained until you come online. So that is the meaning of asynchronous. Okay, so that's the second feature. And coming to third feature, low overhead time. So as I have said already, so MQTT is a lightweight protocol, so it has got only 2 byte of header. So that's why the overhead which is required for the protocol will be very less. And the next is public subscriber model based communication. So this one also I have discussed right now. So if you are a subscriber, if you want some data, then there is a niche, that is a particular topic, you have to subscribe for that topic, then only that data will be transferred to you. So whether you want or don't want the data, it will be continuously transferred to you until you unsubscribe from that topic. So that is public subscriber model based data. So there is a sensor, and here you are sitting, and in between the data and the subscriber there is a protocol which is called as broker. So broker uses the MQTT protocols to make the communication happen between the sensor and you. So you and sensor are the two end nodes, and in between these two objects one broker will be sitting, who will be transferring the data between us. So that is like a cloud server. And the next feature is low complexity, low power consumption, and low footprint. So this is obvious, if it is a lightweight protocol, then its complexity will be less and it will be consuming low power, and also it will leave very lower footprints as compared to the other protocols like HTTP and other protocols, so that is high level protocols you can say. And the last feature is runs on TCP in conjunction with 6LoWPAN. So we can take the help of TCP also in order to make it smoother, with and also with the collaboration of 6LoWPAN also we can make the MQTT work. So these are all the some of key features which we can highlight in case of MQTT. Okay, so this is interesting somewhat we can say, and this diagram here shows how the MQTT works here. So this is the MQTT region which is present over here, and this is the publisher, or we can say this is the LM35 temperature sensor. So this is the LM35 temperature sensor, that is publisher, which will be sensing the environment and producing the data. So example, we are taking it as temperature sensor, and this is the broker which is sitting. So this is you who actually want the data. So this is you. Okay, so you want the data here, and okay, so now we have got different topics over here. So this is one topic that is here, and this is the second topic, and this is the third topic. Okay, so what will be happening here is just will concentrate on topic, that is the second topic on this one. So it has got two publishers, the publisher 1 and the publisher 2 over here. Okay, so it will be sensing the temperature, and it is sensing, let us say, pressure. So there is a temperature data, that is this one, and this is the pressure data, that is the message 2. So these two messages will be sent to this topic, that is a broker. So this is basically a cloud server which will be storing these two datas, that is the data 1 and the data 2. And let us observe this particular subscriber who has subscribed to this topic, that is the topic which contains the temperature as well as the pressure. So these 1 and 2 messages will be forwarded to this subscriber. So here we can see 1 and 2 messages are forwarded for this subscriber. So he will be receiving the temperature from this LM35 sensor and the pressure from this DHT11 sensor. So the DHT11 is basically a pressure sensing sensor. So like this it will be working. So here the MQTT protocol is used to make the communication happen between these two. So like this we can use the MQTT to make the communication between the uh, publisher and the subscriber. And in second case we can also observe this one. So here this subscriber, that is the subscriber over here, is subscribed to both two topics, that is this topic as well as this topic. So he will be receiving the data from these two sensors, that is the data 1, then data 2, and then data 3. So as you can see, this topic is also giving the data, that is the data 1 and 2 is coming here, and this topic is also giving the data, that is data 3 is also going to this subscriber, that is this particular subscriber over here. So like this, to how many topics you are subscribing, that many data we will be getting. So in case of this first subscriber, he subscribed to only this topic, so he will be getting only the message 4 over here, because it is the only message which is entering this topic. So it is like a broker which is sitting between publisher and the subscriber. So this is how the MQTT protocol works. Okay, so what are the components of MQTT? So as I have said earlier, or we have seen earlier in the that block diagram, that is the components are publisher, subscribers, and broker. So we just have a rough idea about what is meant by publisher, subscriber, and broker. So we will see a little bit detail about that one here. So the first one is the publisher here. So these are the nodes which actually generate the data to be transferred. They can be end sensors sensing the environment. So these are the nodes which will be actually generating the data. So it can be the temperature sensor LM35, pressure sensor DHT11, or the light sensor, that is lidars, or something else which will be actually sensing the data and converting in terms of electrical signals. So that is the publisher which will be publishing the data or creating the data. And the subscriber is the second component, where the one who want data from the sensors, or the person who need data. So they can be applications as well. So subscribers are the end users who want the data. So if you are an end user, you are interested in knowing the what is temperature in Pune, Maharashtra. So you are a subscriber and temperature is the topic, and Pune, Maharashtra is the place, and where we will be placing a sensor, where that is it will be sensing the temperature at that particular place, and it will be sending to the MQTT broker. So MQTT broker will be forwarding that data to the end user, that is you. So a subscriber is one who want the ultimate data to be transferred to him. So that can be application as well. So some applications will be using the data for its further processing. So at that moment they are acting as the end users there. And the last component of the MQTT environment is brokers. So the broker is something which is sitting in between publisher and the subscriber. So the person is responsible for connectivity between publishers and subscribers. It classifies data as related topics. So the person which is sitting in between the publisher and subscriber is called as broker, and it classifies the data in terms of topics. So if temperature is the topic, then the related temperatures will be categorized in it. So if a particular topic is pressure, then all the pressure sensed from the sensors will be kept under that category pressure. So like this light or anything, we can take the amount of gases in the environment. So all that could be in a gas as the main topic, and the nitrogen, phosphorus, oxygen, carbon, other gases will be the data for the topic gases there, that is the main topic, we can say the amount of gases present in the environment. So let us take a look at example, which is the temperature sensor here. So the temperature sensor is here and it is acting as a publisher, and it is sensing the temperature as 80 degrees Celsius, and it will publish it to the MQTT broker, which is sitting in between the subscriber and the uh, publisher. Okay, so this is the subscriber model, where first device is the laptop and second device is the mobile device, and this MQTT broker will forward the temperature to both the devices, that is 80 degree to this one and 80 degree to this one as well. So the laptop, that is, it is subscribed to this MQTT broker, and the mobile is also subscribed to the MQTT broker. So this is how the MQTT protocol plays the intermediate role between the subscriber and the publisher there. So at the end we will see what are all the possible applications, or else we can say these are the real world applications which are already present in the market. So Microsoft Azure, that is IoT Hub, uses MQTT for telemetry message transport, that is it is used by the MQTT Microsoft Azure there. And then the everything IoT protocol uses MQTT for mobile to mobile communication. So this is the popular IoT protocol named Everything IoT. So it uses the MQTT for mobile to mobile communication. Then the third one is to create Adafruit IO, that is cloud service. So the Adafruit IO, that is the cloud service which is developed recently. So it uses the MQTT protocol there for the communication between its end nodes. And the Facebook Messenger, which we generously use, that is if you want to do some chit chatting on Facebook, then at that moment we are using, or we are transferring our messages over MQTT. So whenever you next time use Facebook, remember that we are talking on the MQTT protocol, not HTTP, because it is a end to end and we are having only a small conversations. Like in chatting we will be sending small messages, so there is no need for higher protocols which are power consuming and bulky. So we are using, so the Facebook team is using their MQTT protocol instead of HTTP and other protocols. And the Amazon Web Service uses MQTT to create Amazon IoT. So as well we can say Amazon IoT is also using the MQTT protocols to make their IoT things. So these are all the possible applications or real world applications where the MQTT is used very highly. Yeah, at the end I would like to say thank you for watching this video, and if you like the video, please guys hit the like button, and if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. Because we will be posting these type of content. Thank you, thanks for watching.